Hello, guys. I don't know if I am live. I think I am. Let me just sort this out. There we go. How are we all? Hold on. How are we all? Right. Let me just move that away there. Right. I thought I'd go live. I hope this is going live. And that. Um, Let me just sort this bit out as well. Bear with me, guys. Um, right. Hello, Richard. Hello, Joe. Right. Um, oh, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about the paranormal. I'm going to start off by saying how it all started for me. Um, I think it started when I was very, very young. Um, Something came to me, and that's how I got the gift of being a paranormal medium. But the first thing that actually happened to me was I was um, I was at this boarding school, um, and I took seriously ill, um, and I was put into sick bay, and I didn't even know where I was, and I think it was on this third day of going through this. Um, I'd actually witnessed my own funeral, which sounds bizarre, but I witnessed it. Um, and then after all that, other things started happening around me. Um, and I was only young at the time, and I didn't know much about it. Um, but when I got older, I wanted to search the truth. I wanted to find out about all this, what it means. Um, and I remember going to my nan's. I was about 9 years of age, and she lived in a place called Bretford, near Coventry, well, near Rugby, between that and Coventry. And I was trying to explain it to my nan, and my nan couldn't really answer any of these questions. And every year, there used to be what they called back then Romany gypsies to call around them areas. And on this particular time she came, she used to sell dolly pegs and all that. She used to have the old fashioned caravan with the horse. And on that particular day, I was speaking to her, and she put her hand on my head and she goes, "You've got a special gift." She said, "And you'll be using it in later life." And when I asked her what the gift was, she said, "You will find out. It'll come to you." And that's basically how it all started. Um, I could connect with things, and mainly spirits, because I wouldn't call them ghosts, I'd say spirits. And the more I got to know this, the more I wanted to get involved, because every part of an investigation is always something different. And since then, I've done quite a lot of investigations. Most of them on solo, um, and some with others. Um, I did work with a couple once, but I found they weren't very serious, and that's when I decided to go solo more. Um, because whatever I was saying in that investigation with them, they were like trying to mock it and basically just try and say really and all that. So anyway, I wanted to seek more of the truth. Um, I took a job. It was only on agency, but I took a job in Browns Overhaul Hotel, and as we know, that is a haunted location in Warwickshire. And when I got there, you are never allowed to tell the guest about the background of that place or anything. Um, but I was curious to know more history of that building. And if you've never been into that hotel, I'll explain it. If you go up to the top of the stairs, right the way up the top, um, there is it looks like a bookcase, which it is, but that's a false bookcase. Behind it is a door, and that door leads to where the Boultons used to live. And I was curious about that, but no one was allowed up there. I don't know if they allowed any investigators over the years to go up there, but I did hear stories about it, from the maid who had been in there and stuff, and I wanted to get in there. I so desperately wanted to get into that place, and I managed to do that. I was on duty one late night, and there used to be two of us on the desk, and I said to what's name who was working with me, and she goes, "Okay, Paul." I said, "Look, if you take over the desk, I won't be that long." And I took the key and I went up. Um, it was very eerie, especially when you first open that door. It's like a smell comes through. Um, and yeah, it was like a living quarters, bedrooms and everything. Um, and I thought, I wish I had the equipment with me. And there was so much energy in that room. I didn't want to stay too long because it could drain it out of you. And I came back downstairs and she goes, "Everything all right?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." But working there, I used to see all sorts. And that's what got me interested even more. Um, so as I said, I've done a lot of investigations. Um, the other part about Browns Overhaul as well, if you live in Brownsdale or you live in Rugby, you might know this. There used to be the old ambulance station, and there's a lane going up to it. And I remember leaving work one night, and I think it was about 11 o'clock that night. And I was going back to my partner at the time, Louise. And I decided to walk up that lane. I never had no fear. It was a dead of night. I'd say it would be about 11:20. I started walking. I got towards this gate, and in the distance I could just see the ambulance station. And the weird thing about this was there was nobody else about, just me. And all of a sudden something just whisked past my head, and it was a rock, just a small rock. Boom. I turned around quickly, but nobody was there. I couldn't understand that. I could not understand how that rock could have been thrown that hard towards me. And it was a straight line. when I got back to Louise's, um, I wasn't shook up. I was just quiet. And next morning, she said, "You were quiet last night when you came in. You never even said good night to me or nothing." I went, "Yeah, all right." And I remember her saying to me that she used to work there. And I told her about what had happened. And she said, "Yeah." She said, "I know what you're on about." She said, "When I used to work there." She said, "We had a staff party one night," she said, "and I had to go down the cellar," she said, "and I got down the cellar, and by the time I come back up the stairs, I felt like I was soaking wet. And I was screaming," she said. "I was telling people, but they said I wasn't drenched or anything. But she said I could feel my clothes soaking wet, but there wasn't." And I decided to do an investigation. There's a wood there, and I went into that wood to do some stuff. And there was quite a bit of activity in that wood. So as I say, I always go to these places with an open mind then. But sometimes, and I'm going to explain this to the people who might not know this, when you're a paranormal medium or investigator, sometimes you'll get something come through to you and it'll bug you and you need to go there. It's strange to say that, but I've had that incident where I think I told Joe and Richard this, but I was at Mercia Court with my ex-partner, and just excuse me, I'm just getting a drink. And it was on a Friday night, and something came into my head that there was a charity shop and it had some stuff delivered, but there was one item in that stuff, and it was a doll, and it was a possessed doll, and it kept playing in my head. I couldn't really sleep properly because of this, and I was worried about it. And I got up that morning and I said to her about it, and she was, "What?" I said, "Let's just go. I know which charity shop it is." I mean, obviously she thought I was a bit crazy, but she knew what I was like. And we got to the shop, and I just walked in and I said to the lady, I said, "Did you have any stuff donated here?" She's, "What do you mean?" So I explained the outline of this doll and what it looked like. She said, "Yeah, I think we had one of them come in yesterday." I said, "Could I have a look at it?" She said, "We haven't put it out for sale." I said, No, that's good." She was a bit of a skeptic herself when I explained everything to her. But as soon as I got to that doll, there was something not right with that doll. So anyway, I asked if I could take it away from her, and she said, "Yeah." I donated some money because it wasn't right not to. Um, I didn't want it in the flat, but I contacted somebody over these sort of things, and the person came out and they could feel there was something wrong with this doll, and it was possessed by an evil spirit. They took it away so they could discard it. Um, and that's the sort of thing what you'll get, things come into your head. Um, Now, talking about the paranormal, we'll go on to this other bit. There's a lot of people who, let's go back a bit. The thing what I was going to say is this, right? we've noticed that Joe has got a spirit board, and I know Joe's talked a lot about it. And the trouble with these spirit boards, they are good if you use them in the right respect. I'm going to say this bit because I want to get this off my chest, right? With these boards, they go right the way back. There's history with them. And the trouble is, in America, when they brought the boards out, the toy shops put them out as toys, novelty gifts. And kids were buying, well, parents were buying them for their kids, but not realising what they were about until they researched it. And yeah, we all know what happened. And I was going to put this out to Joe last night, but I'm going to say this now, so it's a part of this about the board. There's a place in Rugby called Hill Morton, and I got told this by my ex-sister-in-law. There were 4 kids in a garage, and they got one of these boards, and obviously they were young, and they didn't know about this board, and they put a glass in the middle because they thought that was the right way, and they started messing with the board, and the garage door slammed on them, and things were going wrong. There was a side door, 3 of them got out, but one was still in there, saying it was all okay, but it wasn't. And he decided to pick up the glass and throw it, and smash it. And as it might sound daft when I'm going to say it, but it was actually what happened. As he smashed the glass, obviously they had candles and that, and a candle actually hit something and started a fire. 2 of his friends managed to drag him out of there, and the whole garage went up, and they were very lucky. When it was all come out in the open of what had happened and that, the parents said, yeah, we bought the board for him, we just thought it was a game. Well, it wasn't a game, it was serious. But like I say, there's never been anybody, it's never been in the media about these boards or anything like that. As long as you use them the right way, they're fine. You know, I've been to places where they've used them. As long as you open it up correctly and shut it down correctly, it's fine. But please, for God's sake, never use a glass in the middle of it or anything like that. Keep it as it is. And I don't know what her name is, bless her, she was saying that she'd never use. I understand that when we don't tell people, or well, we don't force people to come into them sort of things. It's up to them and their discretion, the way they feel. You know, that's totally fine. I know it's the same with investigations. I would never force anybody into an investigation unless they wanted to. You know, whether they believe or they don't, you know, it's up to them. But going back to that board, as I say, they're not as bad as people would make out. And that. Because I'm hoping to get the Angel board, because that's a brilliant one, that is, the Angel board. Now going on to the other thing, because I don't want to be on here too long to bore you all. A friend of mine the other day, let me just hold on a minute, guys. A friend of mine the other day was having a chat with me. She works in the Neaton. We was having a quick chat, and she said, "I thought you." So I heard that you gave up being a paranormal medium, Paul. I said, "No, I've gone back into it." She said, "You what?" So I've gone back into it, and she said, "Why?" I said, "Because I miss it." And I said, "There's two people. Well, there is a couple that do it in rugby, and I've got to know them really well. And I've known her for some Richard, and I've known him for a long while. And I got to know his wife Jo, and I want to work with him." And she said, "Oh, it's fantastic." I said, "Yeah." So I'm going to say this. Looking back, I did take some time away, but now I'm happy, working with Jo. And I'm going to say a few words about Jo in a minute. Probably embarrass her, but life is life. As I've said before on the start of this video, I have worked with many people over the years, and I'll be honest, I've never gone back to them because I've never given the time of day. Because a lot of them have just wasted my time. I know this is a bad habit what I'm doing here, but getting to know Jo, I'm going to talk about Jo. There's something about Jo. She's got the attitude. She's got the right way about being an investigator, and I'm very proud of that. When I first met her, and the way she conducts herself, and the way she works with it, I can't be no more prouder. As a medium, and we know that there's lots of them out there who do paranormal investigations, and they're not who they say they are. They muck about, they do silly daft things. That's not what it's all about. We're there to speak to these spirits, and give them the respect they deserve, and everything. And I think Jo's got it all. I think she's got that special gift, in the way she talks, in the way she comes across, and that to me is just, well, basically to me, it makes me a very proud medium to have somebody like that by my side. And I've been on a few investigations with her now, and it's going really well. And I want to work with her more. And I did say to her actually on the last one, Alston Road, I said I won't retire yet then, joking, but I'm very proud of her. And I just wish, you guys out there would watch some of the videos she does and give some feedback, because they're amazing, them videos. They're absolutely amazing. Just the one at Brownsover I've just watched before I come live. She came across in the way that every investigator should. She opened it up, she closed it down right. She did it from the word go. And I've seen her myself in action. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of her. I wish I'd met her, 20, 30 years ago. It would have been fantastic to work with her from then. So am I going to leave Rugby Ghost Hunters? No. Am I going to be a part of it now? Yes. Will I ever retire? No. Because it's got me going back into that again, and I love it. Um, I am going on a solo one tomorrow morning. Um, it's not far from where I am, so I'm going to do that one. All being well, that there's no rain, um, and then hopefully work with Joe again very soon. But obviously with her daughter being off school, it's only right she spends. Excuse me a minute, guys. Hello. Can you call me back because I'm on live? Okay, mate. Sorry about it, guys. Because she can spend some time with her daughter, her kids, and we'll get back out there on the field together. Um, there's a fair few that we want to do, um, especially around Warwickshire. Um, I want to get to the tower again at Bretford, and I think Joe wants to do that one. We also want to do where Lady Jane Grey lived, in Ansley Castle in Nuneaton, in Ansley. So that's another one on the list. We was trying it last week, but with all the rain and that, it just wasn't going to work. Um, it's not about going out there doing investigation, but there's mud, there's wet, and it just does not work like that sometimes. But yeah, there's quite a lot we are going to be doing together, with her husband Richard as well. And we're going to have an amazing adventure. That's what it's all about. I'm going to try and come over to Rugby, um, and hopefully I have checked it out. I'm going to try and stop for about 3 or 4 days in Rugby, at one of the hotels, so I can spend some time over there and do a bit more near that area. Um, but yeah, I'm having the time of my life. It's fantastic. You know. Um, so let's go back on to, yeah, that's the other thing. Nor can I with Richard. Nor can I. Um, if any of you guys who are on this group, you ever got any questions or anything that you feel you can't get the grasp of in the paranormal world, never be frightened to PM me. If I can help, I will help. I've done it in the past with many, many people over the years. Um, I don't do it for money. You don't. It's like sometimes I've done readings of photos for people, to put their minds at rest. I've done all that. I don't mind. I've helped so many people over the years to know about the paranormal and to understand it. Um, and if, like, say that you want me to come to your house, as long as it's in the area of Warwickshire, I would be quite happy to do that and come and have a chat with you. You know, that's the sort of thing I would do. Give up my time to do that for you. You know, now on that question that I can't get to Rugby all the time because obviously I do struggle on my legs. I'll be admitted, I do use a crutch, but I also use a mobility scooter, which hopefully I will get that solved by going on the train with it in the end, so I can get out more. Um, I do struggle when I'm out on an investigation, but I do my best because I don't want to give up. Because this is the thing I love, and it's a passion. Um, it's my passion. I absolutely love doing it. And I'm just like Jo. She's got the passion. She loves it. Um, and you know, I know one member PM'd me about how do I become an investigator. It's not about how you become an investigator. Let me just explain this to you. If you want to become an investigator, then the only way forward to do that is to go out with people who've done it, get the feel of it, um, and if you feel it's right for you, then go for it. You don't just, you can't, how can I put it? You can't just say, well, show me how. You've got to go out there with these people to see how they work and how they operate. And that's how you get the gist of it. And also on that subject, it's no good if you went to an investigation then and we put the K2 meters down and we've only been there, 5 minutes, and it flashes and you're legging out the door. That's not what an investigator does. That's not what a medium does. We basically want that to happen because we want to communicate with that spirit. We don't want to run away. We're the ones who have asked if anybody's there, and that's why they've come through. But if you run down the road, well, you're no good coming out. We can't have that on an investigation. We all work as a team. We all work together as a team. And if you can't work like that, it's no good you trying it. Anyway, I'll come off that one now, so you'll understand that. So some of the equipment that we use, obviously you've seen some of Joe's equipment. I've got the K2, I've got the voice recorder, I've got the dog ball, what flashes. I've also got I think it's called, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a Dowser pendulum. What that basically is, it holds in a straight line, and you hold it, and if there is a spirit, it will start making it rock, and you'll know there's something there. I've had that pendant for many years. It's one of the best tools I've ever used. I haven't used it yet with Joe, which I will do, and that. Now going back onto that sort of thing with your crystals and stuff like that, always cleanse them after investigations. Always. Most of this equipment, sometimes you will need to cleanse it, because spirits will attach to it, and you don't want that. And talking about the investigations as well, when you end a session, always say, don't follow us home, you must stay here. And you must say that, because spirits can attach themselves to you, and boom, before you know it, they're in the house with you. And that, it's not going to cause trouble for you, but it's going to be there, and that. So always do that. It's like the REM pod bears. Always cleanse them afterwards with some sage, and that. So yeah, what else can I say to you? Going back to investigations, I think the very last one I did was a pub in Nuneaton. I'm going to talk to you about this one. Um, you might get this if you go out. This lady, um, she was the landlady of the pub, and she put it on this group of Nuneatans, and obviously people were mocking her, saying it was in the head. And I PM'd her and said who I was, and I was willing to come and have a chat with her. And she did say, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yes, I'm very serious." She said, "Okay." I arranged a time to come up, and obviously the pub would have been open with just a few regulars. But anyway, I got up there via a bus. This was when I was sort of mobile. And I stepped off the bus, and I was fine. But as soon as I got near that pub, the emotions came over me. I wanted to break down in tears. It was just nothing that I've never experienced like that for a long time. And I thought there's something wrong with this pub. Now let me just explain it. There was a fire there a while back, and this is why she got these things kept coming through at her, and that she didn't know what it was. Anyway, I walked into the pub, and I thought there's something not right. I just felt there was something not right about this pub. I don't know if the fire had opened up a porthole or what. Anyway, I went and chatted to her out the back, and she was telling me some of the things she had. In the cellar she felt uncomfortable. She didn't want me to go up the stairs because obviously there was still a lot of damage and it could have been unsafe. And I said, no, I'm going to go up. I said, I will take my time and I will get up there. So obviously I started downstairs a bit, and I had a lot of stuff coming through. And the main thing I wanted to do is solve this bit upstairs, because the photo that was took after the fire damage, there was an outline of a small child, and they couldn't understand it. So I managed to get up the stairs very carefully, and I got onto the landing, and oh my god, it was like I don't know how you can put it. It was like a lot of emotion. You just wanted to burst into tears. But anyway, I put the voice recorder on, and I managed to get a child come through saying, "Help me." So I knew there was a child spirit. Anyway, I came back downstairs. My last bit was the cellar, and I picked up on a lot of things there. And I spoke to the landlady afterwards. And I said to her, there's nothing to worry about. Nothing's going to harm you. I said, there's a porthole being opened up here because of the fire. It's been disturbed. I said, upstairs there is a child. I don't know much history, but obviously he must have died here a long time ago. Hold on. Hi, Donna. And she wanted a bit more about the cellar because she always felt uncomfortable, and that's when I picked it up for her. in the olden days, they used to roll the barrels down the side of the pub into the cellar before it was all converted. And I said to her, I said, they used to have dray lads. And this lad was by the wall as this barrel come down. I said, and it crushed him straight into the wall. I said, it killed him. I said, and his spirit is in this cellar. I said, his name's Colin. He loves seeing you down here. He's not going to harm you. And you will hear him a bit because of his whimpering. I said, and that, but he resides down there. And I think he put her mind at rest that she knew who the person was. And I said, well, so when you come down here, just say hello, good morning, or whatever to Colin. I said, and that's what you're going to do. When I came away from that pub after 2.5 hours, I was drained. I'd had my spirit guide with me, but I was totally drained. I think it took me 2 days to recover. I couldn't even listen to the voice recordings for about 5 days, and I listened to them, and there was loads of responses, and I went back up to her and I played them, and she said, Paul, she said, I just can't thank you enough. I said, hey, this is what the job is. I said, no, this is what we do. But the funny thing, I think it was just last year, the pub's been shut down completely. I don't know why, but it's all boarded up, and a friend of mine was on about it, and I said, I'd love to get back in there and do a full investigation, from the top to the bottom, with all the equipment. I said, because I bet you would pick up loads of stuff. So that was the very last one I did. And after it drained me that much, I just took some time away. But now, I'm happy doing it again. I always have the spirit guide with me, Daniel, if I need him. And Joe will have one of them as well. And talking about spirit guides, it could be a spirit that's latched onto you that will protect you. It could be a loved one. It could be anything like that. But yeah, I was so pleased. I was so pleased when we first went to the London Road Cemetery. That was always on my list, and I was so happy going there. I think there's a lot more to that place. I think there's a lot of dark energy down the bottom part. The one at Bilton, really enjoyed that. And I think, if I could go back to one of them again, it'd be the London Road Cemetery. I don't know why, but there's something drawing me back to that one. But like I say, there is others that I want to go to. It's like mapping it out around, how can I put it? Yeah, mapping around Warwickshire of all the different locations, and that. I think it shocked Joe and Richard when we went to Houston Road, because if you guys have never been there, they'll tell you the same. It's a massive cemetery. It goes all down the bottom and everything. There is an old, crematorium. I'm hoping, if I can get hold of the council person who runs it, because they don't use that no more, they've not used it for a long time, I'm hoping to see if we can get inside that building, because that would be amazing. But yeah, that was a massive cemetery. Um, and I know they both enjoyed doing that, especially Joe, because that's where Larry Grayson's buried. Um, but yeah, what else can I say? And don't worry about the guy behind me. He used to be a lodger. Now I've had him for a long while, Mister. And his name is Fred. Um, but yeah, I'm always there for a chat with any members if they want to PM me and have a chat, whatever. I don't mind. As I said, you know. And it's good, to do these live videos now and again. To chat to you. I always get a bit nervous when I do them, but I don't mind. I love it. You know. That's right, Richard. Fred, don't say that. Um, but yeah, Fred behind me, I've had him for over 9 years. Um, I just love him. You know, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I just love him. Sometimes I put a hat on his head. You know, but yeah, um, I think I ought to take him on an investigation with me and Joe. Now that would be good, wouldn't it? Sit him in the back of the car, or actually get Joe to drive the car and sit him in the front with Joe. Imagine what people would say about that. That'd be quite funny. But yeah, um, what's the other one? Yeah, I want to know how many people like Halloween. Do you like horror as well? I love horror films. Um, that's right, Donna. He does look a bit starved. I like horror films, only certain ones. I don't mind Halloween. And talking about Halloween, they're the best times to go at nights for the paranormal on Halloween night, and that. Um, have I done any overnight vigils? I've had investigations. Yes. Um, have I slept in a haunted building? Yes. I don't mind any of that. You know. Um, do I worry about what people say when I tell them what I am? I don't. They have their own minds, and I just take it as what they said, and that. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed all this. What else? I don't know what else to say. So what am I doing today? I'm not doing a lot. I've got to nip out down to Aldi's, which is only just down the road. Um, as I said, I'm going to go to a location tomorrow morning. Um, that's the crematorium in Nuneaton. Um, take a steady, oh, excuse me, a trip up to there. Um, there is a church as well, so I want to check that out as well. Um, so all being well, I can get a video done. Yes, Richard. um, I'm doing a jack and potato tonight for tea because I've got Joe and Richard into eating jack and potatoes now out of the air fryer. I've got they are the best. Do any of you other guys like jack and potatoes? Because I think they're fantastic. I love jack and potatoes. Um, So yeah, I'm going to end it very soon, and I hope you all enjoyed this. You know, well, I am gonna. Yeah, that was it. I've got a. I mean, it's about a 5 minute snippet of a video that I took in a children's bedroom, and I'm going to put that on Joe's group. It's about five. It's not that long, but I want you to look at it. I put a camera in there. So let me explain it. There's always things going off in the flat, and the kids were always being disturbed. So before we end, I'm going to talk about this. So we got the kids out of the flat, and I set up a camera with a laptop. Shut the bedroom door, let it record, and there was no windows open. All the curtains were shut. It was nothing in there. Bless her. And as I said, I recorded it, and when you see the little snippet of video, you'll understand what it's about. I always thought there was something there disturbing the kids. There was like a ruffled voice by the camera, and there was lots of orbs in that room, and that. And going on to that, if you ever do an investigation, do not bring kids into the investigation. And also, if a person asks you to do an investigation in the house, make sure all kids are out of that property, because spirits can affect children, and some spirits can damage children and scare them, and that. So that's one thing you've got to be careful of. I've been to some places where I've said I can't do the investigation unless you've got the children out of the property, and that, because I would not do an investigation where there is children involved, and that. But anyway, I'm going to end it on there. Fred says goodbye to you. But this has been great, and I'm hoping to do more like this in the end. Catch-ups like this is fantastic, sorry. The other thing I was going to say to you, just on that note, I know a lot of you watch ghost stuff, like the paranormal stuff, like on YouTube and stuff. Most of that is not what you think. It's entertainment. That's what it says, entertainment. Do I like a lot of them programs? No. I do like Nick Goff because he's true to what he says, and his wife. Do I like Ghost Adventures? No. Zach Bagan's doing it for money. You don't do this stuff for money. You do it for the love of it and the passion of it, and that. And all I'm going to say is, I don't mind anybody watching that stuff, but remember, not all of it is real. Most of it is fake. It's just staged. But anyway, on that note, then, I'm going to say goodbye to you all, and that. Don't worry, I'm drinking water. And I want you all to take care, and that. And have a good evening, and that. And we'll see you all soon. Bye Joe, bye Richard, and bye Donna.